and welcome to On the Bench, the fortnightly podcast by scale modelers for scale modelers. So if you build aircraft, ships, tanks, cars, figures, or science fiction subjects, this is the show for you. On the Bench is a fortnightly podcast available on iTunes and Stitcher and all good podcast apps. When you're there, don't forget to mark us as your favourite so you never miss out on the show. And also, leave a rating on your specific podcast app. That just helps others find the show. A big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for your ongoing support, which helps alleviate some of the costs in producing this show. So now, without further ado, let's get on with the show. And hello and welcome everybody to On the Bench. And in the studio tonight, I've got Ian. G'day, Ian.
G'day, listeners. G'day, Dave.
And Julian.
Hello.
And special guest tonight is Chris Dowsett, who's going to be talking about... what are you going to be talking about tonight, Chris?
Tonight, we've got two subjects. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me back.
No worries.
Two subjects. Number one is... displaying your kits from large displays to smaller displays for just a smaller kit. And after that, we'll get on to the future of modelling. What is the next generation of modelling?
Well, I think there's going to be some huge news that hit the internet in the last 2 weeks since the last show, so we're definitely going to be talking about that later on.
Yeah.
But before we do, what's been happening since last show? Ian, what have you been up to?
Well, Shikaku, of course. Been working on the 12-metre utility and motorboats. Replacing the cabins with photo etch cabins and all the really fiddly fine stuff.
So I've actually going to cut the cabins off and
cut them off.
You're replacing with photo etch.
Replacing with photo etch.
You're completely mad.
Well, someone has to do it. You get them there, so why not use them?
And how are the instructions for the photo etch sheets?
Shocking. It's like I must have close to 100 pieces of photo etch, which they don't tell you where it goes.
Oh, God.
So it's just a matter of just finding reference, which is pretty hard to find on the Shikaku, to be honest. I've got a book and a couple of photos. There's probably a dozen photos you can probably find of the thing. So it's a lot of it's a bit of guesswork going in there.
Oh, jeez.
But no, it's motoring along.
Yep. Cool. And what about you, Julian?
A little retail therapy.
Oh, good. What'd you buy?
Well, I bought an airbrush.
Yes.
But aside from that, I've also been...
Hang on, wait, you just can't say you bought an airbrush and just go and move on. What sort of airbrush did you get?
I did mention on a previous episode, I've been eyeballing one of the Guns branded airbrushes.
Yep.
Right? They're more or less very, 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 very similar to the Iwata airbrushes. They come out of the same factory.
So they're just rebranded.
Yeah, well, not quite. I'm not sure if they're actually like rebadged like you would a car.
Yep.
I think they actually do have differences between them, but all the machining comes out of the same shop.
Yep.
I'm sure they've got their own design philosophies. Maybe make things a little bit less cheap, maybe more expensive or cheaper. I don't know.
As long as they're better than those Games Workshop airbrushes.
Well, I don't know. do they have airbrushes?
Yeah, they shape them, I think, like one of their flamethrowers.
Oh,
and it's just this big plastic monstrosity. And it's like you look at the thing and you go, "How the heck do you even hold this thing?"
I've seen some of those cheap end Tamiya airbrushes where it looks like it has two nozzles that face each other on a 90-degree angle kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, Badger used to do that. I had one of them, my very first one, a Badger one.
That's
like that.
old school airbrushing.
Yeah, I know, but it got me into airbrushing.
That's back in the days we had to use your own lungs rather than a compressor.
No, it had a compressor, but it was siphon. Fed up
siphon
from
fed, yes.
Yeah.
Never been a fan of siphon.
No.
I always like gravity for some reason.
The good thing about siphon is it doesn't pick up all the big, thick junk in out of the paint.
Stays at the bottom of the paint.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one thing for it, I guess.
Yep.
Talking about the Warhammer airbrush, what you were saying, you've sprayed Warhammer paint. You need an airbrush like that.
You need a proper spray gun. I don't know. Like that was years ago. They may have changed the paint composition now, but I remember, It used to just dry in the air before it actually hit the kit.
So you need a flamethrower to...
Yeah, you need a flamethrower, yeah, just to liquefy it again.
Oh, jeez. So have you actually tried your airbrush yet, Julian?
No, I only got it the other day, and I'm still a bit under the weather. So
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Still having that medical issue.
Yeah, the medical issue. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have when I'm feeling a bit better, I have been chipping away. Ages ago, I said I'd build some Warhammer Orc killer cans for a friend of mine's birthday.
Yep.
And he wanted me to paint them in fluorescent pink.
Oh, no.
Hey, why not?
Yeah.
They're orcs. They can paint them whatever colour.
So I ended up, I bought it. I painted one in fluorescent pink. It was the Guns lacquer fluorescent pink.
Yep.
I didn't know how to spray lacquers at the time. So what should have come out somewhat glossy came out matte.
Yes.
And then I had a lot of trouble cleaning pink crap out of my airbrush. And then it just got shelved and it sat on the shelf of doom, so to speak.
Yep.
So I've been that and I've also got like
Are they plastic figures or metal?
No, the plastic.
Yeah. I had one once. It was metal.
Oh.
That's going back a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, people. I think they do still sell some of the metal stuff.
Yep.
And is not well liked, from what I hear.
No, it was a horrible fit.
Mm.
The metal one, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got these things. I cleaned up because there's 3 of them, and I painted only the one back in the day. So I've cleaned up the other 2, and I tried stripping the one that I painted with not much success because it's lacquer paint and it doesn't like to come off.
Right.
So I mean, I'm just having to paint over the top of it. But hopefully I'll get that done.
Who cares what it looks like?
And there'll be another box in my stash that I'll be able to throw away.
Yes, the obligatory burning of the boxes.
And quickly replaced with something else, no doubt.
Yep.
So, Chris, it's been a while since we had you in. Last time you were talking about your trip to China and you're sharing with us the going through that museum.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been doing since then?
Okay. Apart from running the business and enjoying DSMC, our modelling group, every 2 weeks, I've been working on a duty, the fine moulds duty. It's been taking a bit of time, but it's coming along quite nicely. And I've also started the Hasegawa Mert, the Night Fighter. So, Ian doesn't like them, but they're a nice-looking aircraft. They were very fast and very hard to intercept by the Americans.
Nice. Where'd you get that from?
And is that sarcasm? I detect?
The Mert
He's completely ignored you and just talking right on.
Just keep on moving. The Mert is the 30mm cannon version, and that's the Night Fighter version, which they're not too sure if they shot down an aircraft. They're not too sure about that, but they did fire the cannon a few times. And it warped the airframe, so they didn't try it too often after that. And they went to the, I think, the 20mm cannons after that. But the other one is the duty. That's the it's not the Night Fighter version. This is the radial engine version, and one of Fine Mould's first kits, and not the easiest of builds, but it's coming together quite nicely for our club display for next year.
Oh, good.
Other than that, I also bought an airbrush. But I went for the cheapy model, $40.
$40
from dicksmith.com.au if you're in Australia. And they've also got a spray booth, which is about $100 and Australian. And they have various other airbrushes as well. And this is a dual action airbrush. It's a nice little piece of equipment. It's 0.2 of a millimetre, and I used it the other night, and it worked beautifully.
Oh, wow.
It's very, very happy. And I was actually doing modelling straight off the gun, straight off the...
Gee, I have to go and have a look at that. $40 for an airbrush. That's right up my alley. That's right up my alley.
You can use it just for metallics.
You could. Well, let me see. What have I been... I haven't been doing a lot. I've just still been banging on, working on finishing off my USS Benson. I'm up to the rigging now, so the light is definitely at the end of the tunnel. I've been pretty busy with another grandchild coming along and preparing for my trip. Started holidays today, so from work, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Hey.
And that's pretty much been it for me. So I think on that note, we might have a look at what's new in the modelling world. All right, and we're back with what's new in the modelling world, and there is certainly a lot that has come out. So let's start off first of all with my favourite company. Not quite, but anyway, Revell. Revell of Nantes, they're going to be distributing Bandai kits worldwide and also a few other little things. So they're starting off with the Millennium Falcon in 1/72 scale.
That'd be a big kit.
It's going to be a huge kit. It's priced at $399 Euro. Number of parts 680, and it's about just shy of under half a metre in length. So certainly going to be a very big kit.
Yep.
And I know a lot of the sci-fi guys are really excited about Revell taking on the Bandai brand and redistributing it because they're hoping that it'll sort of bring some costs down. So the beauty about the 1/72 scale Millennium Falcon, it really opens up to get right in there and do some really intense sort of weathering.
Yep.
Lends itself beautifully at that scale to having LEDs in it.
Does it come with an interior?
I don't really know. I'm not quite sure. I know the cockpit is fairly detailed on the inside. Maybe we should talk to Seth one day because he's a Star Wars guru. He'd know. Next from Revell, we have a truck and trailer. You're going to love this, Ian. It's a limited edition AC/DC truck. It's in 1/32 scale, and all along the side it's got the decals for AC/DC as if they're on the road and sort of moving all their kit around, and it's called Rock or Bust. So it's spectacular in midnight black, with these beautiful decals along the side of the Pantech behind the truck.
Must be an old truck because you look at the decals, it's still got Brian Johnson on the side.
Well, yeah, I guess they're doing it from a certain time period. So
ain't with them no more.
Beggars can't be choosers. So if you love rock and roll and also love building trucks, this is right up your alley, I think. Next off, in 1/44 scale, we have the Antonov AN225. Which is coming out, and
that's that big beast.
That's the 6-engine one. That's they're pretty much. I think the Ukrainian company's got this pretty much shown up around the world, where they use it to ship large items all around the world,
generators and so forth.
Yeah, and I've actually seen them have put a wind turbine in the back of it as well, and ship that somewhere. So this is going to be a great kit for you, those of you who love building your civil aircraft stuff, and it's going to be a huge kit, actually. It's just over half a metre in length, and the wingspan is 614 millimetres. So that's
a 1/144 scale.
Yeah,
so
imagine building it 1/32
plane.
scale. That would be huge.
Be a huge decal sheet that comes with it too.
It has managed to come to Australia too, that plane.
Yes. I have seen it in Australia. 99 euros, or just shy of 100 euros. Parts 203. So I'm pretty sure that'll get a few guys excited who love building those airline type aircraft. Next off, Revell. They are putting out a book called The Revell Story. This is the English version. 176 pages, 150 colour and black and white photos. It comes with a hardcover and dust jacket. And it's available in both English and German versions. Retails for about 30 euros, and basically just tells the Revell story and model of success. I've seen quite a few model companies recently putting out books.
Yes.
Sort of really putting...
Yeah, Airfix. Yeah.
Airfix was the start, wasn't it?
Yeah. Airfix did one.
Frog, you can get a book on Frog.
Yeah, they're just really sort of, putting tickets on themselves, I guess, as a way. But then again, people who want to go down...
companies have had such a long history.
Yeah, and it's very nostalgic too for the modelers when we go back and have a look at the
old...
One
thing that kind of makes me laugh is that it says a model of success, but in the same year that this book is being released, we saw the demise of Revell USA. So it's interesting.
But that's Revell Germany. Different.
Yeah, Revell US, obviously.
Yeah.
Revell
monogram.
I wonder if they mention it in the book. Probably not.
Probably not, though.
All right, let's go on now for a company I hadn't heard much of, Ryefield Models.
They do nice kits.
They're producing, have announced they're going to do 2 different Sheridans. The Sheridan's the M55-1A1A1, and also they're going to be doing the Sheridan M55-1A1 TTS. So the Sheridan tank was introduced into the US Army 67, around then, 65, 67. The lower hull is all aluminium. It was designed as a light to medium tank. The turret was actually made of steel. The gun was designed, the main arm was actually designed to sort of fire missiles out of, would you believe? It didn't have too much success in the, because I think they actually used it in Vietnam, didn't have a huge amount of success over in Vietnam. With the hull being made of aluminium, some large arm like 50 caliber can go through quite easily. That's right, So not a very good sort of reason to have a tank. But anyway, it was still in use by the US Army right up until the 90s, the late 90s, I believe. I think the 82nd, the Airborne Division, they were using it because it was still air portable, and at least it gave them some armour on the ground when they were running around. It's having said all that, I love it as a tank to look at. I reckon it looks awesome. And these 2 kits, which this company is producing, will have it either in the older version or in the new modern upgraded version. So, and I think Tomaya's bringing out Sheridan as well.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they compete against each other. This is in 1/35th scale, and I dare say the Revell one would be similar scale as well.
Yes.
Not sorry, the Revell, sorry, I beg your pardon, the Tomaya.
Now, Tamia already had one of those many years ago. It was
He might
released
just get you to
back
spin
in the
your
60s.
microphone around there, mate, so we can. That's it.
It was released back in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
Well, one of their very first kits, my understanding.
Yeah, the Tomaya is new tooled one that is coming out, so it'll be really interesting to see how it goes. So
I might point out that it says 2-in-1, so I believe you can build both versions out of the one box.
is that what it is? Okay, cool. So I'm pretty sure that'll keep the people who like building tanks extremely happy, especially the modern day stuff. Next up, Italeri. Okay, let's see what they're announced for October. In 1/12 scale, another Fiat. They released it.
Nice.
Fiat came out earlier on in the year. Oh, there's Ian yawning.
No, they are fantastic. They will sell like hotcakes, those cars.
Absolutely. In 1/12 scale.
Especially all the fans of the Count of Cogliostro.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's done up in the in its rally livery as well. So they make great little rally cars, actually. Really good.
And on the circuits as well. They were very fast.
Really?
Yes. Yes, they used to go up against the Minis and various other English touring car series and the European touring car series, and actually very successful in their class.
So the 500 model was produced by Fiat from 1957 till 1975, which is a long production run for a car.
And the particular model went on further, and they also raced in the Trans Am series in America, the early Trans Am series, and won their class almost every race they were in. So not this particular model, but the later models. Yeah.
Comes with a nice decal sheet, and you can do it in 2 different versions. You can do it in the 695 SS or the 6955 SS Assetto Corsa. Is my Italian's correct? All right, let's see what else Italeri are releasing for this month. Just let me get down to...
Oh, nice engine detail.
Yeah. There we go. In 1/48 scale, a B25G Mitchell.
They're probably Reebok's classic airframes.
You think it is?
Or was it Accurate Miniatures?
Accurate Miniatures.
Yeah, Reebok's Accurate Miniatures.
Possibly. Revell have their own B25 kit.
Yeah,
you built it, didn't you? Oh, sorry, this is Italeri. Right, yeah, you're right. I'm not too sure. I mean...
Well, they do their Dauntless.
Yes, that's right.
And they
they do a few of them. Yeah,
do a few. So I'd say it would be. But it's the gunship version, which I like.
And they're giving you decals for 4 different versions. So you can do the gunship of the 499th Bomber Squadron,
which has got the big bat nose.
Yep. Or you can do the 823rd Bomber Squadron, which has got that Tiger motif on the front nose. You can do the version that for the 802nd
822 squadron.
Thank you, Squadron, which was running out of New Guinea back in 43.
And
it had
a big black panther on the nose.
Correct.
Is it a panther? It kind of looks like a ferret.
No, it's a panther.
It's a panther.
And the final version is just a straight olive drab, which was used by the 77th Bombardment Group out of Adak in the Aleutian Islands in 43.
It's the only one that doesn't have an animal on the front of it.
Yep.
Correct. Bombs, it comes with a range of bombs. So you get 100 pound, 250 pound, and 500 pound bombs.
And decals on the bombs as well.
Yep. So it's going to be an interesting kit to see how many people actually sort of actually buy and build this. And I'm quite keen to see some getting built and see what they look like when they're finished. Next up from Italeri, we have one 24th scale Scania truck, the T143H, which is a 6x2 truck. They've got decals for a couple of different varieties of colours. One comes with looks like an angry chook. And another version comes in this interesting sort of deep purple with some flashes up the side.
So the chook is actually wearing a crown.
Yeah, it's some sort of company logo, obviously.
I mean, it's actually like an eagle or a hawk or something. We're just calling it a chicken.
But it looks like
a chicken hawk.
I think it looks like an angry chook. But anyway, that's my view of things. Next, still on Italeri, in 124th scale, they're doing a Ford Escort RS 1800.
Nice.
Now, I used to have a Ford Escort RS 2000 when I was a wee lad.
Yes, I remember driving.
So, and they were fantastic cars. They used to go like the...
Except the indicators and the wiper arms are on the wrong side of the steering wheel.
Well, I've still got that now with my
plenty of cars like that these days.
Yeah.
You're European.
But it was back then, back in the 70s, it was quite odd to have it on the wrong side, wasn't it?
So I remember my parents used to have one until I wrote it off.
Twice.
That's right. Yes, twice. We won't go any further.
So I could almost be tempted by this, and I could do it in a nice yellow, which my car was in. So, yeah, I might keep my eye on that. This particular kit is all deckled up for a rally car for the Rothmans team.
Yeah, it's got the extra headlamps mounted on the front.
So it might appeal to quite a few people, actually. Now, this one's got me interested. In 1/72nd scale, a JU 86E1/E2.
Nice.
Nice.
Very early war.
Extremely early war, and it was used in Spain and actually used during the invasion of Poland and even in France, actually.
Yep.
And it was taken out of front combat units after France.
Too far out of date by then.
Yeah, too slow. It's a odd-looking aircraft, but there's something I find
like
really attractive about it.
Yeah, I really do like
and
them.
I'm not quite sure what it is that sort of really grabs me, but I'll certainly be having a...
It's also the colours that they're painted in. It's not what you normally expect from Luftwaffe fare.
True. And it's in 1/72nd scale, so it fits in with my bomber thread that I'm doing. Real bombers in 1/72nd scale.
Oh no. And any excuse will do to buy another bomber.
Why not? So that's a really attractive aircraft, and it comes with 4 different decal sheets for 4 different types of aircraft. I beg your pardon, more than that.
6
decal sheets. South African Air Force used them. 12th Bomber Squadron, 1939. Well, there you go. You learn something every day. And
that one looks funky.
Portuguese Air Force used them in 42. A really interesting sort of colour scheme, that one, a camouflage scheme, that one. And
Austrian.
Yeah. Austrian Air Force in 39, which eventually got swallowed up in the Luftwaffe anyway, didn't it?
Yes.
So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Next up in 1/72nd scale, we have the M60A1, which is the iconic tank from the Cold War era that the American Army had. Yeah, absolutely.
And we've all seen movies of those with Russian and German symbols on them.
Yeah, so you can forget the Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah, all painted grey with the German cross on the side of them.
So does that mean they were American tanks done up as German tanks to look like American tanks? Because of the Battle of the Bulge?
Could be.
So the M60 was introduced in the first years of the 60s, the United States Army, and developed and designed to be an evolution of the famous M47 and M48 Patton series. The M60 became the most important main battle tank of the US Army during the Cold War years. It was produced until 1983 by the American company Chrysler with 15,000 units and was adopted by several other countries.
So, of course, they're good. They're Mopar.
Interesting fact, because of America's involvement in the Vietnam War, the American Army actually missed out on a cycle of upgrading the tank, and hence that the M60 had to sort of soldier on through until the 80s, when finally they managed to get the M1 Abrams out the door.
I believe they still used them in Middle East, though.
Oh yeah, the Israel Army used them. They upgraded them quite significantly.
I believe the Americans used them as well, because they
in the Middle East.
Yeah, I think they put the ERA stuff on them and sent them into
the
Desert
Marines.
Storm.
Yeah, the Marines use them in Desert Storm. Absolutely.
And Turkey uses them still today.
Some really interesting sort of colours there and decals. The one that really sort of strikes me is the US Army 35th Armour Regiment, 1st Battalion B Company, which is in Western Germany in 71. It's got a really interesting sort of light tan, light green sort of colour there, which is a bit odd for the European theatre.
Yeah, definitely.
Come through ubiquitous snow. Oh, the tracks.
Lincoln length.
Lincoln length. So,
well, it's 72 scale, so.
Well, it's better than rubber, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right, that's it from Italeri. Next up, we got a company that I've never heard of, and they're producing something that's quite interesting. The company is called Silver Wings, and they're doing a Yak 9 in 32nd scale, and they're looking for you to pre-order it now to get a 15% discount. Okay. Anybody, you guys heard of this company before?
Yes.
No.
You have?
I have heard of Silver Wings, yes.
Do they do anything else?
I think they do. I can't remember. Don't quote me on it, but I think they do.
You got to love the Yak 9. It's a beautiful looking aircraft. In fact, there's a couple flying out here in Australia. In fact,
not anymore.
No, one crashed the other day.
Just not far from here.
Yeah, about
a month ago.
Yeah. Sadly, the pilot lost his life.
Yep.
I believe they're being remanufactured in Russia and sold off. That's why there's a lot of sort of new ones floating around on the Warbirds scene.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
What are they doing when they're manufacturing these things? Are they using original number plates, or are they continuing on with the plates? As far as
they just got hold of the tools and the jigs, and they're just producing new ones.
Sure.
So off and running. What I love about the Soviets is the colour schemes and the banners and the slashes they have on the side of them. And with this particular kit, you get quite a range of decals, so you can really sort of have the model pop in a number of different schemes. So, including even Czechoslovakia.
Polish.
No, Polish.
Beg your pardon, Polish.
But they should at least give you a North Korean one. Well, North Koreans for them.
That's true. All right. On with more news. And Models Fit. They have announced a very interesting, if I can get it back up.
48 scale.
Yeah. I'm going to try and get it back up, and it's not working for me at the moment. No, I'll have to come back to that in a minute. So let's go to another model company. Again, I have never heard of these ones. A&A Models. You guys heard of these before?
No.
It looks to be a Soviet company, and they're producing some really interesting stuff. They've got a surface-to-air missiles in 1/72nd scale. I think they're SAM-3s. I'm not really too sure. The Russian name for them is C-125.
Well, it's a quadruple launcher anyway.
Yes, so I'll stand corrected as to what the NATO designation for that is. That's available, released in October. Next, they have got this really interesting looking aircraft. It is a VJ-10 or VJ-101C experimental aircraft. Now, if you think it's a jet aircraft, but like the Osprey, the jet engines are mounted on the outboard of the wings and tilt up, so the aircraft can do VTOL takeoff.
If what I'm seeing is correct, it might also have like a lift jet behind the cockpit.
Yeah, directly behind the cockpit is a ducted fan, much like the F-35B. So,
and the old Yak forges.
Yep.
The particularly interesting sort of aircraft. The kit is, as I said, 1/72nd scale, 107 plastic parts, PE sheet, colouring masks, which is interesting, and decals for making 2 variants, and you get 2 canopies, so you can have one open and one closed. Next, from AA Models, and I think Chris might get a bit of a kick out of this. This is the MiG OKB, which was an experimental interceptor, which they were building back in the late 50s, early 54, I beg your pardon. They're involved in the design program with the objective of being a comparatively lightweight interceptor capable of attaining Mach 2.
Looks like a cross between a MiG-21 with the MiG-21 fuselage and a MiG-19 wings.
Yeah, it's got the wing fences on the side, which is a bit of a giveaway. You're wondering whether they actually just rip the wings off from a MiG-19 and sort of put it on a new fuselage.
No delta wing.
So that's particularly interesting, but the one that's really grabbed my interest is this one. This is the Aleutian 102, which is a
modern-day version of a Stormovic.
It is. It looks like, you're right, Ian, it looks like a Stormovic jet version of a Stormovic. Yep. So it's got 2 engine nacelles nestled right up close to the fuselage.
This is the aircraft that went up against the Frogfoot. It had the rear gunner as well. Twin seat. Yeah.
And this was an experimental one, obviously lost out to the Frogfoot.
Yes.
Okay. So 1/72nd scale, so it's A&A model. So
that's literally a flying tank, that thing.
I reckon it would be. So give them a look. Just plug in in Google, go A&A models, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you like your Russian stuff. Rightio. The only other... Have you guys got any announcements at all? New stuff at all?
New stuff?
Yeah.
Well, besides the big one.
Besides the big... I think we'll leave the big one until after because it's just such a big sort of news release. But anyway.
Juicy topic.
Yeah. What have you got, Ian?
Well, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Besides what I bought with me today.
Yep.
Which is the new Tommy's War 1/32nd scale. What is it? The Australian Light Horse Trooper on horseback.
And in what scale is it?
1/32nd scale from Tommy's War, from the Battle of Beersheba. I have to say this is probably one of the most dynamic figures I've ever seen on horseback, full charge. And as usual with Tommy's War, it's just the quality is just amazing. I got it shipped to home, all up including shipping and tax, was $80 Australian.
Well, that's not bad.
And it's just an amazing piece. Absolutely amazing.
You got any news
No.
over there, Julian?
I live under a rock.
Okay. Chris?
No, I'm a bit busy with kids.
All right, I think we'll take a very short break and we'll come back to talk about Wingnut Wings and their announcement of the 1/32nd scale Lancaster. Back shortly. Okay, and we're going to be having a chat now about an announcement that sent shockwaves through the modelling world from Wingnut Wings just under 2 weeks ago, where they announced that they're going to be releasing in 1/32nd scale an Avro Lancaster B Mark III, the Dam Busters version.
Well, actually 2. The standard Mark III they're releasing.
Yes.
Mark 1 to 3, and they're releasing a separate Dam Busters.
And didn't the internet just light up in the whole modelling world?
It went bananas. And when you actually see this kit and you see the CAD and some of the sprue shots, like they've even got the stressed skin
Now, that's interesting.
It is, because a lot of companies that have been asked about stress skin, and they've all come up with, it's too hard. Well, sorry, guys, but Wingnut Wings has just proven that, yes, you can do it, and yes, it does look right.
Now, this is very interesting because there's a couple of factors in here. Number one is we've got the announcement from Hong Kong Models. They're just on the cusp of actually releasing their 132nd scale Lancaster.
A lot of people got a bit stroppy saying, Wingnut Wings has jumped on the bandwagon. Sorry, guys, Wingnut Wings has had this kit in production for the past 8 years. Well, that's longer than Hong Kong Models has been around.
Absolutely. And in fact, if we back in episode 27, we had a talk with Wingnut Wings, Richard Alexander. And yes. What I might do, I might just go back and play what he had to say when we had him on the show. So, Wingnut Wings into the future, whereabouts are you still going to always maintain just your World War I flavour, or are you going to start creeping into the 1920s as well?
Well, we've got into the 20s already, but basically by using aircraft created and designed in World War One. But we have no plans to. Our plans are to concentrate on World War One. There's still plenty to do there.
Heaps, absolute heaps.
Never say never, but that's what we're concentrating on.
So, any chance of a scoop in letting us know what your next model is going to be, Richard?
Good luck.
Not really. I'll say that.
It's got at least 2 wings.
You asked a question about what's happening in the future, and I poo-pooed, interwar planes. But, we've got plenty of models planned that are going to be released. So, a scoop, no. But I can tease something in that all things going well, and they don't always go well. So, treat that as you wish. We should have something with a bit of an Aussie flavour out before the end of this year.
So there you go. So when we last spoke to Richard, he dropped it there. We didn't pick up the hint because we were all thinking something, from World War One, perhaps.
Not thinking Dam Busters, had a lot of Aussies in the Dam Busters.
Well, not only that. I mean, thousands of Australians, indeed Canadians, South Africans, flew in Bomber Command in the RAF, and. I mean, looking back at it now, all the signs were there. You got Peter Jackson working on.
Well, there was Richard Alexander sent out an email to a lot of Wingnut Wings customers.
Oh, okay.
And they state that this has nothing to do with the movie.
Oh, really?
As he says, the wireframe CGI that they use for movies cannot be used for model making.
That's very interesting.
Mm.
What then is the...
So this is just a project they've been working on.
Wow.
Someone's just come up with the idea, let's do a Lancaster. And as he said, they've spent 8 years on research and development.
Yep.
And when you see the shots and the CAD and so forth, this is the next step up in models.
Absolutely.
Absolutely next step up.
Benchmark has been raised.
Yep, definitely.
And... what really impresses me though is the stress skin, as you call it. I call it all canning because I come from I've got the build the naval ships, and that's what they call it there. And if these guys can do it in 1/32, now Airfix did it in their 1/24 scale Typhoon, did they not? Yes,
correct.
Did,
yes, yep.
And any thoughts on that? How that looked?
I've seen it, and I thought it was a little bit overdone.
Yep. To me, it looked like someone ran a file across it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And scalloped it.
Oil canning can be done as a technique. There are people who get like 30-second scale kits, and they'll draw out all the lines for where all the cross members are, and then they'll scrape with a big round blade, and they'll try and sand it down and then make it look like the stress skin effect.
But on aircraft, oil canning goes 2 ways. In ships, it only goes 1 way. So in a ship, you've got your ribs, and the oil canning is where the metal or the side of the hull has been pressed in from the action of the waves. Mm-hmm. And in fact, even on modern ships, when they're coming out of the slipways now, they've even got a slight amount of oil canning on them now, because they only use about 6 or I don't know how much steel they use inside of them. But it's with aircraft, you can have oil canning both ways. You got the ribs, and you can have the skin sort of bubbling out, or you can have it sort of scooped down in, depending on where the stresses are on the aircraft when it's actually flying.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think most of the modelers who go about, putting stress skin into kits that don't have them, I don't think they think of them in that level. I think they just go, I want to do some stress skin, and they just start scraping away.
I've seen stress skin done in ships by painting, shading different paints, and I've seen it done where guys have actually gone in the 1/32, 1/350 scale, or even the 1/200 scale, and scraped it out, each little bit by bit. But gee, it's a huge job doing that.
Is, yeah, definitely. But no, these Lancasters are, like I said, they're the next step up. Like this is the next level of manufacturing.
So, what do you reckon was happening in the Hong Kong boardroom when this got announced?
Tears.
Must have been going,
probably some tears.
Because how much are they saying that's going for, the Hong Kong model?
Trying to think what it was. I can't remember what it's going.
Is it around the $600 mark?
Yeah, well, and the thing I was in this email from Richard Alexandra, he states that where are we? I'll go down the bottom here. That they're planning on the cost of these Lancasters will be roughly around the same cost as the Felixstowe and I can't remember what it was. The German float plane duelist kit.
Yep.
Which, when you look on their site, is $495.
Wow.
So, including shipping, and as for Australia GST, I reckon you probably get one of these Lancasters to your door for around about $600.
Jeez.
But you got to wait till late next year for it to come out.
Yeah.
So you got plenty of time to save, guys.
That's true.
I've already got my money stashed away for it. As soon as I saw this, I've gone, it's in the stash.
Yeah.
And it may sit in the stash for 20 years, but it's in the stash.
Well, I reckon it's going to be like one of them rare jewel, like this is the kit to end all kits kind of thing.
Yeah, you build it.
It's going to be it's going to be a while before anyone tops them. But see, this has happened to HK models before. Remember, they brought out a Mosquito just before Tamiya brought out theirs.
Mosquito, yes.
Jeez.
So so if you want a really good kit, wait for Hong Kong models to bring one out, and then one of the bigger manufacturers will bring one out. But Wingnut Wings doing Second World War, well, that's a great. I'm happy with that. A lot of people got stroppy because they should be World War I only. Well, sorry, but it's Peter Jackson's company. It's his money.
Yep.
He can do whatever he wants.
Yep, absolutely. And
if they're doing, and I say this will probably, I'm touching wood here, but I'd say there's a good chance that this model will be released probably roughly the same time they'll probably release his movie anyway.
Oh, you have to do it. You have to do it at the same time, wouldn't you?
And honestly, if they
opportunity.
play their cards right, 1/32 scale Messerschmitt 110 Night Fighter, would fit right in with the movie.
Yeah.
And a Messerschmitt 110 Night Fighter by Wingnut Wings would be pretty good kit.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, but Wingnut Wings keep their cards very close.
They keep their cards. Well, they've just released the two Halberstadts.
Yep.
Was it the CI2 early and late, which just been released, and the photo right at the end from the email is of one of their guys at his desk, and in the background there's a couple of books, and one of them is Italian Aces of World War One, and there's another book on French aircraft of World War One.
Wow.
So those who like their French and Italian aircraft, well, yeah,
stand by.
You could be lucky, guys.
Yeah, stand by.
You could be lucky. Like a nice Mackie float plane from Wingnut Wings would be pretty good to see, I reckon. Yeah.
I think anyone would appreciate an Italian float plane.
Yeah.
I'm just staggered by the news, and I'm blown away by it, and I'm seriously thinking about getting one for myself as well.
I'm getting one.
Yeah,
I've already put the money aside.
All you gotta do is just buy the paint. You wouldn't have to buy anything else for it, would you?
Yeah.
Because the way
a litre of black paint.
Because Wingnut Wings, they come with everything already in the box. You don't need to go and buy aftermarket stuff. I mean, the kit looks great out of the box by itself. Yes, there's aftermarket stuff for the Wingnut Wings kits, like Gas Patch do.
Yes,
a whole range of stuff. If you really want to,
is it HGW or something?
HGW seatbelts. Is that the kind of thing
Yeah, they also do a lot of photo etch.
Bob's Buckles used to do the turnbuckles.
Yeah, but you just get the Gas Patch ones now.
Yeah, and
the Gas Patch do the guns as well. Every World War One gun in They're used on aircraft. Basically, you can buy from Gas Patch.
But there's nothing wrong with the Wingnut Wings kit itself.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
But with the Gas Patch, just adds that tiny bit more refinement.
Yeah.
So I don't think there'll be any room for that with these. I mean, like with the Lancaster, Apart from
maybe replace. Well, the seatbelts would come anyway.
Maybe some brass barrels, and that'd be
That's
about
the
it.
other thing I was thinking. Brass barrels.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. The other thing I was going to say, it's escaped me now, so I'll have to throw back to you guys while I think about what I was going to say. I've lost my train of thought.
I'd still like to see a Tiger Moth and 32 scale from these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, Tiger Moth, yeah. Well, the only 32 scale Tiger Moth is the old Matchbox one.
That's what I was going to say. There's with this announcement, there's been a lot of people looking at the CAD drawings and saying, hey, just give us also the opportunity just to have the cockpit section done so we can just display that as a kit in its own right.
Yeah,
well, they said the same for the Hong Kong models.
Yeah, but
Hong Kong brought out their clear cockpit sections.
Yeah, they are. But people are saying this, asking for Wingnut Wings just to do the cockpit section alone, just as a standalone sort of model.
No, I can't see that happening.
No.
See, the thing is, right, you nailed it on the head when you said it's just Peter Jackson and he does what he wants.
Yep.
Right? He doesn't care how much people say, I wanted this or I wanted that, or can you give me this, can you give me that? He doesn't care. He does what he wants.
What a great position to be in, hey?
And the funny thing about Peter Jackson, apparently his favourite aircraft is a Spitfire.
Yeah, well.
So Wingnut Wings doing a Spitfire would be...
Yeah, but at the same time, topping the Tamiya kit in 32nd scale would be quite a feat.
I don't know, with the oil canning.
Yeah.
I wonder if he would go for a Mark 1, because I don't think there is a Mark 1 from Tamiya.
Nah, not from Tamiya. There's not.
No.
Who just announced they're doing a Mark 1?
That was in 48 scale too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, 48 scale.
Yeah.
But then, that could be a sign that they're going to bring out one in 32nd.
Yes.
Because there are...
Well, you look at Tamiya. All Tamiya aircraft, basically, they bring out all run off the one engine, the one or the two engines.
Yep,
it's either
that's
the
right.
Pratt & Whitney 2800 or the Merlin.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, that's why I've been hoping that they're going to bring out a P47,
a P47
in 32nd scale. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping
what
for.
About a Hellcat?
Yeah, or Hellcat. I wouldn't mind a Hellcat.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't buy one though. Not in 32nd scale.
Or what about a P40L?
A
Merlin powered P40.
Nah.
Yeah. No one does a 32 scale Merlin. Actually, trying to find a decent 48 scale Merlin powered P40 is like pulling teeth.
It's a bit too obscure for Tamiya to do. They tend to stick to the.
This is the
iconic version of this particular plane, you know.
But I love the Merlin powered P40s. I reckon that blocky nose, I just look great.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love them.
Well, all I've got to say is more power to Wingnut Wings for doing what they're doing.
Me too. I totally agree.
Definitely got to get Richard Alexander back on again when he's back out in Australia.
Yes.
Because I'm dying to have a long chat with him about this.
Yes.
And just stand by and keep your eyes open for more news about when it'll be released.
And just jump on their website and, they've got the CADs and a couple of pictures of the sprues on both the Lancaster, the Dam Busters and the Mark 1/3.
They're not doing pre-orders yet, are they?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not due out till late next year.
Yep.
So we still haven't even seen any of Ronnie Barr's artwork for what schemes they are. Well, I do think that there's probably a very, very good, I'd say probably 70% chance we'll get decals for the Australian War Memorials G for George, because that'd be one they could be able to research quite easily.
And S for Sugar is another one.
S for Sugar, which basically you can do for anyone.
Yep. I'm just stoked that we actually broke the news back in episode 27, even though we didn't realise it.
Yes.
They didn't exactly give him... He didn't give us much to go on.
He gave us a hint. He gave us a hint, so I'm calling that a world sort of first.
He could have said,
scoop.
Yeah, we're planning on releasing a kit. Right? That's about as equal to the amount of information he gave us.
Yes. I'm going to be listening a lot more closely next time we have him on the show, that's for sure.
Definitely.
It's a little bit more torture.
But the interesting thing is in 1/32nd scale, and this will lead us into what we're going to be talking about next very shortly, is where the heck do you put it?
Well, you look at the size of it, I think, just under a metre wingspan. The Lancaster in 32nd.
Is that all?
Is that all? Well, he says, is that all?
The Antonov...
Are you thinking about, you've got to find a metre cubed space to put it in.
The Antonov in 1/144th scale was 600 mil wingspan.
Yep.
So...
Yeah,
that's still 40 centimetres shorter, mate.
You can't. It's difficult to transport that anywhere. You can't take
Well,
that
the
to a
thing I was
model
saying
show
with
and
the-
show anybody
the
what
wings
you've
would come
done.
off. The
Yeah,
wings
they're
would have to come
saying
off.
the wings will come off. Like the
Yeah.
Felix Day, you'll be
Yeah.
able to remove the wings
Yeah.
for transportation and,
Yeah.
and moving it around.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
It's a definite on the get list.
You need a trailer.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's going to lead us to the next segment, so we'll be back very shortly. Okay, we're back to have a chat now about how to look after your models and store them and display them and all that sort of good guff.
Yes, displaying model kits. Now, as modelers, we always, we love collecting models. We love them in the boxes. Yeah, we build them. Where do we put them after that? Where do they go?
Indeed.
And I've seen various forms of display cabinets, from beautifully built, custom-made cabinets in stunning rooms to sitting on shelves gathering dust.
Now, that's the big killer, isn't it? Dust.
Oh,
Dust
yeah,
and sunlight.
dust. Yep.
They're the two big things that just don't go with models.
Or put him in the kitchen.
You put them in the kitchen.
I remember years ago.
Oil.
I had the old Monogram P40B, and I financially, for some reason, I can't remember, it was going back years and years, I had to move back into my parents' place for a couple of months while I was in between houses.
Yeah.
And the only place to put this thing, because it was on a base, was to stick it on top of their glasses cabinet where they kept all their glasses and cups and so forth. And that was in the kitchen. And I totally forgot about it until I was moving out, and the thing was just coated in grease.
Oh, no. Oh.
And I was like, yep. I managed to clean it after a while, which was a fun job because it's the old Monogram kit, which was all raised panel lines. So trying to get the grease and dust off that was it was a chore and a half, but I managed to do it.
There's nothing that makes me cry more than seeing somebody who's built a nice ship with all the lovely rigging on it,
and then the dust gets on the rigging.
The dust gets on the rigging, and
or trees on dioramas.
Yeah, all that.
And trying to clean that off is nigh on impossible.
So, Chris, how do we stop that?
Well, you've really got to put them in a cabinet.
Yep.
There we go. They've got to be sealed, airtight is best. If you can't get it airtight and you've got a cabinet that's got opened doors and so forth, you're have to clean them, unfortunately. My best method of cleaning models, if they get dust on them, is a really, really soft, wide brush, which I get at most art stores. But try and get a really wide brush that's really, really soft. And actually, even if you get two brushes, one's a little bit more firmer and one's a bit softer, and brush the whole kit down with the soft brush and get into those pieces with the firm brush if you can.
Other thing you can also use is the old camera lens brushes with the little bellows built in.
Well, what I've found with those is the brushes are really fine, and they don't really get that they don't really get in there as such.
But it helps blow
they do
blow it off, and it's not like trying to hit it with an air compressor. Where you run the risk of blowing bits off your model.
Yeah, so I've got a cabinet at home which is based on an existing cabinet which I keep model kits in the bottom, and they're closed up, and you open the drawers up and there they are exposed. That then raises the cabinet by a couple of feet, and then it goes up to, I dare say, up to about 6 foot. 4 or something, almost that, and it's a decent sized cabinet. It stores a lot of 48 scale aircraft, and the plan is to actually build a second one so I can just display other type of kits in there to try and keep the 48 scale together, and then ships and rockets and everything else I like to build in a separate cabinet altogether. How about yourself? What do you do for your...
Well, I use IKEA cabinets because they're relatively cheap. When I say relative, they look nice. They come with doors. The only problem with the doors is they don't seal, so I still got the issue of dust getting in there. And I'm struggling with them now because I've bought an aircraft carrier, the Chinese Liaoning aircraft carrier, and it's too big for the cabinet, so I haven't even built it yet.
I've got the same problem with the Shikaku. It's too big for both my cabinets.
And this raises an interesting question. We're just talking about the 1/32 scale wingnut wings Lancaster. But even Ian, we were just talking just before during the break, 1/72 scale aircraft like the B-52. That's got a metre wingspan almost.
Close.
So where do you put these large kits?
That's where you have to build like a specialised coffee table.
Exactly. Yeah, the coffee table.
Every modeler I've ever spoken to has all had that dream of having the big kit in the coffee table.
Now Troy's actually done that. We had Troy on a couple of episodes ago, and he's actually built a coffee table for his model kits, and it sits nicely in his lounge room there. But hey, a 1/32 scale is probably going to fit one model in the coffee table. So what do you do with the other ones you've bought and you want to build?
Well, I've got the same problem. Yeah, luckily Chris has got a really big cabinet, so he's looking after my 48 scale Lancaster, Lancaster, because I've got no room to put it. I've got the old monogram B-24 Liberator. Now that's got a decent sized wingspan as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I haven't touched that, because there's so many kits I've got in my collection.
Yeah.
I'd love to build, but I've got nowhere to put them.
Yeah.
Absolutely nowhere.
I think you have to sort out your storage before you can really cut loose.
Get a bigger house, yeah, as I've been saying for a while.
You could do, I guess, what the Wargamer guys do, and I think you were alluding to earlier on, Chris, as well. You can store your models put away so they're not actually out on display.
Yes.
And you just, pull them out every now and again and sort of
rotate them.
Yeah.
I was speaking to one fellow modeler, and he was saying that about another fellow modeler who's a really good, this guy does some brilliant work.
Yeah.
And when he's finished his model kit, he gives it away or throws it in the bin.
Throws it in the bin.
Because for him, it's the journey.
No.
It's the journey, the love of actually building it rather than finish.
I'm kind of in that territory myself, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, you've done that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've given away quite a few of my builds, yeah.
Yep.
I usually raffle them off at work.
But see, I've spent so much time, I've sweated. Occasionally, I've even bled for some of my kits. I'm not going to go and give them away.
Like
or
a lot
throw
of people,
them away.
a lot of people say to me,
it's a lot of money you've invested in them.
It's like
time.
telling you to thin your stash. Thin your stash, Ian. Thin your stash.
Yeah.
No,
but they want some of those kits in that stash. That's why they want a thin one.
Every kit I've got in my stash, I haven't bought just for the sake of buying a kit. I've bought it because I like that particular subject.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's either like I've bought an aftermarket decal sheet and gone, I like that scheme. I better buy a few extra kits so I can do those schemes.
Yeah.
So sometimes you forget what's in your stash as well.
Well, that's why I use the Excel spreadsheet, which is very handy. And even still, I've got an extra 4 or 5 sets of P40B wheels, aftermarket wheels, and a few other bits and pieces that I've forgotten. We're digressing off the displaying.
Yep. There's other forms of displaying your kits as well. You get acrylic cabinets as well. Go down to your local acrylic shop. There's a lot of acrylic companies around, usually in industrial areas, and they manufacture acrylic display stands for shops and so forth. There's actually quite a few around. Here in Victoria, there's one just down the road here. It's only about 15 minutes down the road. They're everywhere. They are everywhere. So you just search them on Google, on the internet, and you should be able to find an acrylic company that will manufacture a cabinet for your kit as well. So if you get a particular kit like a large ship, you can't put it in your cabinet. You can have it freestanding. Build a base, and then they will actually manufacture a casing for it. That's a very good idea. You could actually
do it yourself. I mean, just get the acrylic sheet cut to shape. You could even go glass. Mm-hmm. Get glass cut to shape and just sort of fit it to the base and then make a nice sort of top for it.
It is an art looking at an acrylic person doing it properly.
Yep.
Like, it's not one of those things you just want to jump into and get into it. I have seen it done quite a few times, and it is an art, but it's you can certainly give it a go yourself. Sheets of glass, you can certainly do that as well. You got to watch out for the safety aspect.
Yep.
That the extra weight of it as well.
Yeah, you don't want the top sheet of glass dropping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that sort of thing you got to keep in mind as well, safety aspects. So acrylic's a good way of doing it. The problem with acrylic is it does collect dust on the outside, so there's a little bit of cleaning
and
involved.
It scratches easy.
Yeah, that's true. So you got to get the right cleaners for it as well. But that's another alternative for those larger sort of models.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Julian? How do you display your kits?
Well, I've got one of those IKEA cabinets, and I've been looking to get. I actually had some sheet acrylic cut up at a place around the corner for me to add in extra shelves. But I misread my own handwriting, and I had them cut to the wrong size. See, you knew that story, and that's why you brought it up.
No, I didn't.
That's all right. I don't mind telling it. I really don't. Right, I make mistakes all the time.
We've all been there.
But as long as I'm the one, talking, I do want to counter your point, Dave, where you talked about how I've spent all this time and effort on a particular model.
Yep.
See, I look at my older kits and I think, they're terrible. I could do a way better job than that now. That thing's an eyesore. I want it gone.
Yeah, we've done that.
No, but all the kits I build are perfect. So. Good point, though. Good point.
How about yourself, Ian?
Me? Well, I've got two cabinets. One that was custom made, which is a pretty smallish sort of narrow freestanding tall cabinet. And another one I've got, which was basically like a sort of glass cabinet you see as like a countertop, a counter sort of style, for like at a jeweler's or something like that. And geez, I've got a fair few 48 scale aircraft in that, but that's now full to the brim. I can't physically fit many more aircraft in that. So
but you could fit an extra shelf.
I can't because I've got a Mistel underneath it, and that takes up a fair bit of height. Especially when you've got a JU-88 with a Focke-Wulf 190 mounted on the top of it in 48 scale. It takes up a fair bit of height. But no, I've been looking. There is a company, the next state up in New South Wales, that does the cabinets for shops, and they're all like flat packed, and you're paying probably between $1,500 to $1,600 per cabinet, but they're all fully lighted and so forth. So when the time comes and I finally do pull the pin and get that bigger place, I'll probably get about 2 or 3 of those cabinets, and then I can start working on some bigger projects.
And you raise a good point there with the lighting. That's one of the beauties about the cabinets. You can really have your models lit.
Yep.
To really sort of show
especially
them
now with those new LED strips.
Yeah.
Because you can hide them.
Yeah.
You can hide them so well, and there's light there, but you don't have these big globes hanging out everywhere. And
actually, LEDs has been sort of saving grace of displaying models, because unlike in the old days where you only had incandescent sort of bulbs,
you couldn't have anything too close to the light because it'd melt.
Or if you're lucky, you had a fluoro in there, but it was too harsh.
Yes, or too yellow.
Yeah, the LED lights you can have now are awesome.
Also, with the vertical cabinets that almost everyone has, the IKEA ones, like I've got.
You got the IKEA all glass ones.
Yeah.
The square, and it looks like
it's a tower looking thing,
I haven't got
if
one
you
of
start adding in lots of extra shelves, and they've all got models on them, it all starts cutting out any light that you have at the top.
That's an issue. Yeah.
Right? So if you can have like LED strips that run down the sides, you're golden.
Yep.
I've actually seen that. We've got a Lego shop just down the road from us. They sell Lego, and they have a display cabinet in the front of the store, and they have the LED strips down either side of the doors. Looks absolutely fantastic. And he said that it landed in Australia for $1,200, and it came from China.
Wow.
Lighting and all. So that looked like a pretty good buy. So they are out there. There's some really good bargains out there.
I wonder if they sell them on AliExpress. I love AliExpress. Have I mentioned that?
Yes, numerous times.
Now, that story you have mentioned.
Yes.
Now, myself, as far as the lighting's concerned, I made my own cabinet, and I'm not really a favour. I don't like the idea of actually having glass underneath the kits, because I think it sort of distracts away from the kits. Personal preference. So I've got shelves which are MDF, and just a thin MDF, but I've got a flap on the front, and I've got LED strip lighting, which is IKEA. There's my connection to the IKEA.
Yep.
Lighting along the each of the shelves as well. So each shelf is actually lit.
Yep.
And not only is the front of the shelf shining towards the kits, it's actually in the middle of the shelf as well, and that's lighting the kit as well. So there's 2 rows of LED strip lighting down it, and the beauty of the strip lighting coming from IKEA, it was really cost effective. Each strip, which was about half the length of the cabinet, was about $12 each. So it cost me a couple $100 to actually light it, so it was pretty good.
And the LEDs from IKEA, you can daisy chain them as well.
Yes, you can.
If you're building a cabinet or a cabinet's an odd size, you can just daisy chain the LEDs and off you go. Bob's your uncle.
And it's safe. You don't need an electrician.
Yep.
Easy done.
Yep.
So I just use double-sided tape from Bunnings or your hardware store. Nice strong hardware double-sided tape. Attach it to the underneath the each of the shelves, and that displays the kits quite nicely.
I'm still wondering though. I'm going back to the 132nd scale, big sort of bomber aircraft, the 172nd scale, large aircraft. You're not going to be just everybody's going to build just a little purpose-built cabinet to go in the middle of the lounge room. I mean, that might upset the other half, or you might not have the room for that. So
I mean, even the most understanding of wives, I don't think, would put up with models in the entertaining area for guests. And
no.
Well, talking about that, I did suggest having the coffee table cabinet to my wife. And she said, in which house are you going to put this? So that was the answer.
I know my
Shot
boundaries.
down in flames.
I know my boundaries, so I wouldn't even suggest it. So
That's right.
So we come back. So what do we do with these huge kits? Say the 1/200 scale ship or 1/32nd scale aircraft.
1/35th scale submarine.
What do we do with these big kits? Where do we put them? Because we spent so much money and so much effort, and they look awesome when we're finished with them. But how do we display them?
Well, that's the question.
I have seen a guy...
A big bloody cabinet.
I have seen a guy who's actually around... He's built 1/72nd scale submarines, so radio control stuff mainly, I think. And he displays them around the wall in his little man
Yeah, I've
cave.
seen that as well with ships.
Yeah.
Where they actually make like a hanging cabinet.
Yep.
Because ships aren't very wide.
Mm.
And if you get like a nice size, you could probably put, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 battleships.
Yeah, but you still got the dust issue though. So
Not if it's enclosed with glass.
true.
And you can screws fix it to the wall as well.
That's right.
Like you're saying, a hanging cabinet. That's a great idea. Really good.
Yeah.
So tanks really works with that as well, because you can have them
the
in line.
big problem always has been aircraft.
Mm.
Wings always stick out.
Yeah.
So you've got to...
worse than that, choppers.
Exactly.
Helicopters.
Exactly.
Yeah, helicopters.
The big Russian ones too.
Or dioramas, because dioramas can be all sizes and heights and...
That's why people tend to go for those choppers that have the wings, the blades that fold back, you know.
The naval variant.
Yeah, the naval ones.
Yes.
Now I did. Is it Hong Kong models? They built the B-17 in 1/32nd scale, and they had a little device you could actually hang it from your wall.
Yes.
So that's perhaps another option. But again, you got the issue of dust.
Especially dust getting into the fronts of the radial engines.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
So as I said earlier, the best thing is just get a big cabinet.
What you could do, how's this for an idea, is
here we go.
seal the room, have a mat that is an adhesive, anti-static mat. Every time you go into the room or your friends go into the room, you can issue gloves.
A hazmat suit.
Yeah.
Oh, and you got like the airlock and the two doors.
Positive pressure room. Yes.
Yeah, and there's no. Yeah, you just put them on the shelf. Easy.
But see, the issue with plastic though, it's naturally got a static, so that it attracts dust.
Yes.
So even your best intention, where you have a cabinet that's sealed, you're still going to get dust that's sort of going to infiltrate in.
Yeah, but I find the two cabinets I have aren't like perfectly sealed, and even then, like I'd be lucky to have to clean my models once every 3 years.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, yep.
Because it keeps the free floating dust off, and that's what you get is the free floating dust that's around the house. And because there's a barrier, and that's what you need. You need that barrier to stop that dust. And the small gap you have in between the doors and that is very negligible. You've got to leave it for about 10 years before you're in real trouble.
Now, there's one other thing too I can suggest as well. If you've got cabinet doors that don't shut properly, on either side of the door, you can go down to your local hardware store and you can get some weather stripping and put that in there. And not only, if you've got sliding doors at the front, not only are you going to stop the sliding doors from smacking into the timber or whatever's the other frame of the cabinet, you'll have the sponge down there. It'll stop it from smacking in there. It seals the cabinet, and it just works all around. So I've also got that in mind as well. And it's pretty inexpensive from the local hardware stores. You can get that with the double-sided tape attached to it, so it's an easy fix.
I've been thinking about doing that because I've got quite a large gap in my cabinet. So yeah, I might. That's another project. Oh, jeez.
There you go. We're modelers, mate. We love projects.
Yeah.
Just sitting here thinking about where I would store a Lancaster. I think the only idea I can think of without having to go to the coffee table idea is you just have like a big, large, flat, like acrylic box that goes over it, right? And it's on its own base. And then you can just push it under the bed.
Great idea. Yeah.
That'll really impress the wife. What's underneath the bed, darling? Oh, just my 1/32 scale Lancaster.
Yes.
Just the skeletons in my closet.
I like what you're thinking. I like the thinking out of the box, Julian, but no.
Also, I mean, I don't know how big that thing is. It might actually be too tall to fit under most beds.
Well,
Could be.
I mean,
Could very well be.
I mean, so a 1 meter wingspan. I mean. Well, actually, I wonder what the guys who do like fly model aircraft and all that sort of stuff, where they
stick
well, that's the other issue too.
They hang them from the walls sometimes.
That's the other issue though, transportation. So how are you going to transport these great big behemoths that we're building now?
Trailer.
Well, I mean...
Utility.
Well, what was it? I forget what scale it was, but I do recall going to a show and this guy had the B-1 Spirit bomber.
Yep.
In 48.
Was it 48? It was massive.
Yeah, 48.
He basically had... What he had was the box that it came in, which was pretty big as it was. And then he had like coat hangers that he bent up or something to act as like barriers on either side of it or something.
That's a good thing about when you talk about transport. I like the idea of with Tamiya, and they have their large 32 scale aircraft that can be transported in the box once they've been completed.
And also some of the ship models as well.
I think the only aircraft I know of that does that is the F-16.
Ah, right.
The tail comes off.
Yes.
And then it can go back into the box that it came in.
Right.
But I think most planes wouldn't fit back in the box because they're not, they're too wide, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always a dilemma, isn't it? I mean, footprint is a huge problem. Right?
Well, with your aircraft, Ian knocked a nail on the head. It's the footprint that's the issue with the aircraft, with the wingspan. So
that's why with my cabinet, this tall skinny thing, is that I actually figured I could fit 8 extra shelves in it. Because I'm like, most of the things I build aren't going to be more than say.
And you just got to make
10,
sure
12 centimeters high.
You put the heaviest kit at the bottom, Julian. Because the last thing you want is a concertina effect where it goes boom, 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 boom.
Well, I mean, like every so there's 3 glass shelves in there, so they'll either stop there or I've got a real big problem on my hands.
Big problem on your hands there, mate. Yes, definitely.
It'll be actually very liberating if they all get broken because then I can throw them all out and go fresh start.
That's one way of looking at it.
So we don't necessarily have the answers, do we?
No.
I wonder what our listeners what they do with their large model kits.
So give us some ideas, guys.
Yeah, you can drop us a line at onthebench64@gmail.com.
Or on our Facebook page.
Yep. Or that's it. That's the two ways you get in contact with us. But by all means, please let us know what you guys are doing with your large kits, especially those aircraft, because they're the real hard ones.
Yep.
I mean, as I said, a 1 metre wingspan, so the fuselage is going to be 800 mil.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're looking at a metre.
Yeah, you're looking at a good metre square footprint.
Yeah. And, gee, I don't know.
So it's a big area.
That's a huge area.
Big area.
Actually, that's just thrown a spanner in my works for my 1/72 scale bomber collection. Because I'm going to get the B-52, which I want to get. I mean, where am I going to display that?
So I find this is hilarious because you didn't think about this after you bought the first one. You wait till you bought several, and now you're thinking about it.
Oops!
You can't just sell that one kit off at the next swap and sell. You got to sell a whole bunch of them.
I did exactly the same when I bought the Felixstowe. Oh, I'm buying the Felixstowe. 32nd scale. Get it home, open the box, and then just go, where the hell am I going to put this?
Well, I think that thing's wider.
And you're going to get a Lancaster now.
Yeah. Which will be in the same area as that. They'll just be stashed away for a few years.
Mm.
Oh, jeez, I don't I've got any words. I'm lost for words.
Also, it just occurred to me, looking at the CAD for the Lancaster, the Wing That Wings Lancaster, it's packed full of engines and all of the entire fuselage is filled with stuff. That's going to be a heavy model.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yep, definitely.
It makes you wonder what they got planned for the actual landing gear. Because I know a lot of the 32nd scale guys will often replace their landing gear with white metal. Just to carry the weight.
Look, I'm quite sure Wing Nut Wings has sort of figured that out.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are, but I wonder what the solution is.
They're not a dumb company.
No, I never said that. No, I wasn't saying that.
I remember Tamiya, the early F-15 kits.
Yeah.
The front undercarriage leg actually had a bit of wire you stuck all the way through.
I did it really seriously.
Yeah.
To me, it's still one of the only companies where you get kits and they come with screws and nuts and everything, so you can screw even down to one of their 1/350 scale submarines. It came with some screws and stuff, so you could screw it together.
That's right. Yes,
so it blew me away.
The I-400.
It's correct.
I believe there's screws in their Mosquito that they released a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting.
Very.
Well, I don't know. Is that it? Is that all we got? Looks like it. So, any sort of parting words from Chris? Well, first of all, thanks for coming along. We really appreciate having you back on the show again, and definitely have to drag you back in again.
Yep.
Thank you.
Totally
sure
agree.
You enjoyed coming over and having dinner and a couple of beers.
Yep, indeed.
Ian, any parting words?
Yeah. Just keep on working on those things, and you got to love photo etch.
No, I don't. I don't.
Julian, any parting words?
Yeah, I've got plenty of photo etch to keep me busy, but I don't have to like it.
All right, guys. Until next fortnight, that's it from On the Bench. Thanks for listening.